The Canon RF 35mm F1.2 USM has been rumored since August 1st, 2019. Is it still on schedule for this fall? Details coming up. But first, I encourage you to subscribe and choose all notifications so you're kept informed on the latest camera gear, news, and rumors. I've been covering the rumored RF lenses since this channel began. The Canon RF 35mm F1.2 USM has been rumored since 2019. Like many of the lenses on this slide, the RF 35mm F1.2 is rated as a CR1 from Canon Rumors. And a CR1 is little more than a rumor. It doesn't come from known sources, and it certainly hasn't been validated. However, in November 2020, Canon Rumors published a list of 19 lenses stating, "This is the Canon RF lens roadmap for the next couple of years." I will be updating this list as new information comes in. The RF lens roadmap has proven highly accurate. Of the 19 lenses on the roadmap, 12 have already been released. Of the 5 RF zoom lenses rumored to be coming out in the next couple of years since November 2020, only one hasn't been released yet, and that's the Canon RF 10-24mm f4 L series USM. And there is one minor correction. The Canon RF 18-45mm was rumored to be an f4 to 5.6, and in fact, it's an f4.5 to 6.3. We haven't received any of the tilt shift lenses yet, and as far as the Canon RF macro lenses, we did receive the Canon RF 100mm f2.8 L series macro IS USM, but we haven't received the Canon RF 24mm f1.8 image stabilized STM macro. And of the 5 Canon RF super telephoto lenses rumored to be coming out, well, we've received all of them, but there is one glaring omission. The Canon RF 100-500mm wasn't on this list, and of course, we've received that lens. But take a look at the rumored Canon RF prime lenses. We did receive the Canon RF 5.2mm f2.8 L series dual fisheye lens, the Canon RF 60mm f2.8 STM, and the Canon RF 50mm f1.8 STM. And the rest of this video is focused on the Canon RF 35mm f1.2 L series USM, and we're also going to talk about the Canon RF 135mm f1.4 L series USM. And while the Canon RF 35mm f1.2 has been rumored back to August of 2019, can you believe that? We've had these rumors since August of 2019, but it was really that lens roadmap that Canon Rumors put out at November 2020 that really has, well, some credibility behind it, because 12 of those 19 lenses have come out, and while there have been some minor errors such as the focal range on some, well, we've received a bulk of them already. Considering everything that's happened this year, last year, and of course going back into 2020, it's pretty accurate. So the Canon RF 35mm f1.2, according to Canon Rumors, is now getting pushed into 2023. Canon Rumors doesn't say why, but does say, we've been told that Canon would like to announce it alongside 2 other RF-L prime lenses to round up the lineup. I like the R5. It's a good camera, but it's pretty useless without lenses, and if you pair it with the right lens like the Canon RF 50mm f1.2, which is how I shoot all these videos for this channel, it's truly amazing, the sharpness, the detail that you get, the lack of aberration. It's just absolutely astonishing. Although there is one thing I'm not too happy with it, the focus breathing is pretty severe. It's kind of like taking your dog for a long walk in 100-degree heat and bringing it home, and it's just going to be panting there, and the focus breathing is kind of like that. But that aside, the Canon RF 50mm f1.2 is a very solid lens, and I'm sure that the 35mm f1.2 will be as well. But it's pushed into 2023, along with a rumored 135mm prime f1.8, and I'm really excited about this prime. And I love primes. I love how they're dedicated to that single focal length. The aberration, the sharpness, all those characteristics of a prime are much improved over a standard zoom lens, no matter how well built it is. 135mm. This is a perfect focal length for street photography, for portrait photography. And the EF version of this 135mm lens is terrific. I can only imagine how good the RF version is going to be. And neither of these lenses are going to be cheap. We don't have the pricing. We don't even have the optical specifications. All we have from Canon Rumors at this point is they're coming. Now, we've heard this since 2019, that these lenses are coming. And they're coming now in 2023, again, further off in the distance, somewhere where we can't reach them, we can't grab them. We don't have any optical specifications. We don't have any pricing, although we can look at the 50mm. We can look at other prime lenses, the 85mm, to help determine what the price range of these lenses are going to be. But when they're going to come out and what they're going to be released alongside, well, we don't have that information. And at first, I wasn't going to put out this video because there was really very little to talk about. But I haven't covered lenses in a long time, and the primary reason for that is when you look at this slide here, look at how many of these lenses are CR1s or CR0s. They're unvalidated. They're not from trusted or known sources. And this is a slide that I stopped updating about a year or two ago because really the information, I just kept getting more CR1s, CR0s with very few lenses coming out. And at one point, I got up to 2 full slides of rumored lenses. Well, what's the point of doing that? I got tired of putting out videos on rumored lenses that really had no validation in any way whatsoever. They were just conjecture at best. But a 35mm F1.2 and the 135mm F1.8, if that's what the aperture is going to be, well, it's going to be absolutely incredible. And these are going to be lenses for a very select few that love doing street photography, that love doing portraits, that love shooting video and stills. The 35mm is a prime lens I would absolutely love. I spend a lot of time shooting around 24mm, 35mm, and 50mm. And I know this because I'm always out there with my 24-105 as a general purpose lens. And it's pretty rare that I go all the way out to 105 or even 75, 80. It's usually right around 24, 35, and 50. An F4, while it's great in sunny skies and bright sun and bright lit situations, there's a lot of places where I go where I'm shooting in low light, even on a sunny day where I'll find myself going into a forest or some other area where there's a lot of shade, in some brush, or we're in an apple orchard or some place where you just don't have a lot of brightness and you want to be able to open things up. 35mm F1.2. Wow. I mean, I absolutely love the 50mm F1.2 and the 135mm. These are lenses that really excite. And that's one of the reasons why I wanted to put out this video, is because I started to think about these lenses and what they would do for my set, my workflow. And I can imagine you're thinking the same thing. If you're still watching at this point, you're dreaming about what these lenses could do for you. So we're going to have to wait until 2023. And what I wonder is, have they been delayed because Canon can't get all the materials and parts together? Or is it because they're looking at releasing these alongside some major body? The 135mm and the 35mm, these aren't going to be cheap lenses. They're likely going to cost over $2,000 US each. I would suspect that if they're going to be released alongside a body, it's going to be a high-end body, maybe the much anticipated Canon EOS R1, which is due for announcement in 2023, as well as release. And as it stands right now, we're looking at the first half of 2023. But we also have a rumored high megapixel camera, 100 megapixel plus camera based on the Canon EOS R5. And I know what you're thinking. The 85mm and the 35mm generally aren't lenses you'd be thinking of using with a camera like that, and that might be true. And there's also rumored cameras to replace the Canon EOS RP, to have a successor to the Canon EOS RP, maybe the R8 or the R9. We're not exactly sure how Canon's going to name these. They could go the R100, but we also have another camera that's supposed to be coming out between the RP successor and the Canon EOS R6. Does it make sense that Canon's going to release lenses that cost in excess of $1,800 or $2,000 alongside entry-level cameras? No, I don't think so. If it's going into 2023, I could see these lenses being announced alongside the Canon EOS R1. Let me know in the comment section down below, but that's it for now. If you'd like to stay informed on the latest camera gear, news, and rumors, go ahead and click subscribe, but please make sure you choose all notifications. So that way, as soon as I publish a new video on new lenses, camera bodies, or whatever other accessories related to camera gear, you'll get notified by YouTube so you can stay up to date on the latest camera gear, news, and rumors. Thank you so much for watching. We'll see you again soon.